All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, with the Pittsburgh Steelers' elimination from the playoffs on Sunday, not only did it mark the end of Ben Roethlisberger's career as the starting quarterback of the Steelers, but it also meant the end of one of the greater quarterback classes in NFL history. Now, the first round of the 2004 NFL draft saw quarterbacks Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, and Ben Roethlisberger taken within the first 11 choices, and each of them went on to have stellar careers. Now, after the draft day trade between the San Diego Chargers and New York Giants, Manning played his entire career for the Giants, while Rivers spent the bulk of his career with the Chargers. Of course, he spent 2020 as a member of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Manning retired at the conclusion of the 2019 NFL season, and he finished his career with a pair of Super Bowl titles, while his 57,023 passing yards are currently ninth all time. Rivers finished his career in 2020 as an eight-time Pro Bowler, while his 63,440 yards are sixth all time. Like Manning, Roethlisberger finishes his career as a two-time Super Bowl champion while also being a six-time Pro Bowl selection. And Roethlisberger's 64,088 career passing yards are fifth all time. And with all of those numbers that have been put up by these three men, you have to ask yourself, will this trio wind up in Canton at the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Now, Manning has the numbers and he has two Super Bowl titles that will help his cause. But his naysayers are going to look at his career regular season record of 117 and 117, while his final few years in New York were less than stellar. Now, Rivers makes a compelling case as he was this generation's version of another former Chargers quarterback and the great Dan Fouts, who also is a Pro Football Hall of Famer. For Big Ben, what he did on the field is Hall of Fame worthy, but his critics, and rightfully so, will look at his off the field discrepancies. The 2004 quarterbacks class can only be bested by what we saw in 1983 when John Elway, Jim Kelly, and Dan Marino were all first round picks. And that year actually saw six quarterbacks taken in the first round, once you include Todd Blackledge, Tony Eason, and Kenny O'Brien. But Manning, Roethlisberger, and Rivers all make compelling cases individually to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But honestly, in my opinion, and some people are going to agree with me, some people won't, that's fine. But in my opinion, I don't see how one of them gets in and the other two don't, or if two get in and the other one doesn't. Because at the end of the day, I feel like all three of these quarterbacks are really attached at the hip. For what it's worth, I know Eli had his ups and downs throughout his career. But like I said before, look at Joe Namath's record. It wasn't stellar. And, look at some of his seasons. They weren't stellar either. But Joe Namath is a Pro Football Hall of Famer. And for what it's worth, I think the biggest thing that is a hindrance and probably will be a hindrance to Eli Manning is the fact that he's Peyton's little brother. I mean, the bottom line is everybody's going to look at you compared to your big brother Peyton, and of course, Peyton did some tremendous things on the gridiron. He is, without a doubt, one of the best to ever have done it. Will all three get in? At some point, I think they will. I mean, you like I said, each one of these men has a very compelling case. You look at Philip Rivers, some of his numbers. I mean, his best season, he had a couple of seasons where he threw for more than 4,000 yards, close to 5,000 yards. In 2008 with the Chargers, he led the NFL in touchdown passes with 34. But then he also had two seasons where, he led the NFL in interceptions as well. For Eli, he led the NFL in interceptions on three separate occasions. His best season came in 2011. He threw for almost 5,000 yards and helping the Giants win their second Super Bowl with him at the helm. And of course, the last couple of years with Eli, they were less than stellar. Granted, the talent was not there around him, and you could make a strong case for that. But for Big Ben, I mean, Big Ben came out of the chute. He went 13-0 his first year as a starter. Granted, a lot of that can be attributed to the talent that was around him. Big Ben led the NFL in interceptions a couple of times. He had some big passing seasons. You go back to 2014, he threw for 4,952 yards. And then in 2018, he threw for 5,128 yards. Also led the league in interceptions that year as well. But nonetheless, all three of these guys make very compelling cases. It's going to be interesting to see when their respective time is up if all of them get in. So we'll have to wait and see. But it's always interesting to see and hear the debates when it comes to former players, when it comes time for their possible enshrinement into Canton. Of course, we know that we're going to have some slam dunks in regards to getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame uh, when their time is up. I mean, Peyton Manning, that was a no brainer. Looking at current players right now at the quarterback position, at least Aaron Rodgers, no brainer. Tom Brady, no brainer. So it's going to be interesting to see what can be said for the other guys. But, at the end of the day, I think all three, Big Ben, Eli, and Philly Riv, all will one day wear gold jackets in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.